Silence doesn't scream, but it exposes everything. My friends, let me tell you something real quick. Sometimes the loudest message you'll ever send someone is the one you never say out loud. There comes a moment when your quiet hits harder than any argument, any explanation, any late-night paragraph you once poured your heart into. And the crazy part, they never expect it. They think your silence is just a pause, a break, a little hiccup before you come running back like you always did. But when you stay quiet longer than they planned, something inside them starts to shake. Stay with me for a moment, because this next part is where things get interesting. And hey, before we go deeper, press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join this community. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Now folks, imagine this. You walk into a room that used to be filled with noise, arguments, explanations, overthinking, fixing what wasn't yours to fix. But today the room is still. No buzzing phone, no "I miss you" messages, no mixed signals, just peace. At first, silence feels strange, like walking into a movie theater after the film has already ended. Your mind keeps expecting something to happen, but slowly that stillness starts to feel good, like your soul finally took its shoes off and sat down for the first time in years. Meanwhile, on their end, oh, let me break the lie they tell themselves. They pretend your silence doesn't bother them. They act cool, unbothered, scrolling through life like it's no big deal. But my friends, you know how a can of soda looks calm until you shake it? Yeah, that's their mind right now. Every second you stay quiet is like one more shake, building pressure they don't know how to handle. And here's the funny part. They'll never admit it. Pride won't let them. Their ego is standing there with its little clipboard like, "Nope, we're fine. Totally fine. Nothing to see here." But inside they're pacing like a nervous cat that heard a noise at 2 a.m. See, here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Silence isn't empty. Silence is data. Silence is truth serum. Silence is the mirror that forces people to face themselves. And when you stop talking, stop explaining, stop giving them the comfort of your attention, they're left alone with something they've avoided for a very long time, their own reflection. That's when the lies start to crumble. The lie that you needed them more. The lie that they were in control. The lie that your heart was always available like a 24-hour store. And my friends, here's the biggest lie that falls apart. The lie that your silence means you're weak. No. Your silence means you've outgrown the version of yourself who settled for confusion. Let me tell you something powerful. Your quiet is not a retreat. Your quiet is a recalibration. It's your spirit saying, "I'm not fighting for what doesn't fight for me." It's you reclaiming energy you've been handing out like free samples at the mall. It's the shift they never saw coming because they thought you'd always break first. And if you're sitting there thinking, why does it hurt them so much now? It's simple. People don't miss you when you're gone. They miss you when you stop showing up in ways they never appreciated when you were there. That's the lesson silence teaches, with no yelling, no drama, no fireworks, just truth. So stay with me, because this journey you're on isn't about making them regret losing you. It's about helping you rediscover the version of yourself that never needed validation to begin with. Write this in the comments, my friends. My silence is power. Press like, subscribe, and let's go deeper. Number 1, the moment your silence becomes real. Nothing scares the ego more than realizing the person it underestimated stopped needing a reaction to feel powerful. My friends, that first moment when your silence becomes real to them is not loud. There's no dramatic announcement, no "I'm done" speech, no fireworks. It lands quietly, like a door slowly closing in a house they thought they owned the keys to forever. At first, they don't even notice. They think it's just a pause, a mood, a phase. They tell themselves they'll be back. They always come back. That's the lie they wrap themselves in so they don't have to face the truth. Imagine this, folks. Picture a stage where both of you used to perform. Every day they'd walk out, throw a little chaos, a little mixed signal, a little hot and cold energy. And you'd rush onto the stage every time, explaining, defending, chasing clarity, trying to fix what kept breaking in your hands. That was the show. Same script, different day. But one day, without clapping, without warning, without a dramatic exit, you just stop walking onto that stage. The lights are still on, the microphones still work, but there's no you. They come out, say their usual line, maybe a little distance, maybe a little attitude, maybe another test, and for the first time, the other side is empty. No reply, no argument, no late-night essay, just silence. At first they laugh it off. They're just busy. Then, they're probably overreacting, they'll cool down. Then, they're being dramatic, they always give in. But as the hours turn into days, and the days start to stretch into something longer, your silence stops being a phase in their mind. It becomes a possibility, and that's when fear starts whispering in their ear. Wait, what if they're really done this time? What if they've finally seen through the game? What if I push them one time too many times? They won't say that out loud, though. Pride never likes to admit it's worried. So they put on the same mask, keep posting like everything's amazing, keep joking with friends, keep pretending your absence is nothing. But inside, a small part of them knows something shifted. And here's where it hits a bit hard, my friends. They never believed you would actually choose yourself. They counted on your heart more than you did. They trusted your attachment even when you didn't trust yourself. They built their comfort on the idea that you would always be there, always responding, always explaining. So when you go quiet, really quiet, not the silent but still watching their every move kind of quiet, but the I'm rebuilding my life from the inside quiet, it shakes their reality, because now they're forced to ask the questions they were hoping to never face. Did I misjudge them? Did I go too far? Were they actually stronger than I thought? The fear they feel isn't just about losing you. It's deeper than that. It's the fear of losing the version of themselves they liked better when you were around. With you, they had someone who understood their chaos, someone who translated their half-effort into love, someone who filled the gap that their ego never let them admit existed. Then suddenly, that presence is gone. Not half gone, not still responding if I push enough, gone, gone, gone. Let me break a lie here, folks. The lie is that they don't care, and that's why they're not reaching out. Sometimes that's true, but a lot of times, it's not a lack of care, it's a lack of courage. They care, but their pride is louder than their heart. They miss you, but their ego refuses to bow first. So they sit there, in the middle of their own mental battlefield, pretending your silence is nothing, while checking their phone more times than they'll ever admit. Maybe they'll text today. Maybe they'll view my story. Maybe they'll like something. That means I still have them. They're watching for tiny signs, the same way you once watched for theirs. That's the shift they never expected, the roles reversing without a single word spoken. But let's be honest, my friends. This moment isn't easy for you either. Your silence wasn't born from numbness. It came from pain, from tiredness, from that deep inner knowing that said, I can't keep doing this to myself. It's hard not to reach out. It's hard not to check in. It's hard not to break the silence just to calm your own nervous system. You might lie awake wondering, do they even notice I'm gone? Do they miss me at all? Am I doing the right thing? You're not weak for asking those questions. You're human. But this is where your power is forged. Because real strength isn't never wanting to reach out. Real strength is wanting to reach out and still choosing your peace instead. Stoicism isn't feeling nothing, my friends. It's not letting your feelings run your life. It will be difficult. Of course it will. You've trained your nervous system to respond to their chaos, to crave their crumbs, to chase their attention as if it was proof of your worth. Letting go of that pattern feels like withdrawal. It feels like you're giving up on something, but here's the truth. You're not giving up. You're waking up. You think like this because you were taught that love means constant effort, constant fixing, constant proving. You were taught that if you don't show up, you'll be forgotten. But your silence is teaching you something new. The right people don't forget you just because you stop chasing them. The wrong people only noticed you because you never stopped. So this first moment, this shift where your silence becomes real to them and terrifying for their ego, is also the moment it becomes sacred for you. It's where you stop begging to be seen and start seeing yourself clearly. It's where you stop hoping they'll treat you better and start treating yourself better. It's where your heart learns a new truth. I can love deeply without abandoning myself. That's where we are now, my friends, at the doorway. On one side is the old you, always responding, always explaining. On the other side is the you that moves from peace, not panic. This first step is scary, but it's also the one that changes everything. Write this in the comments to show them, show yourself, show the world around you. I choose my peace. Because this is just the beginning. If this is what silence does at the start, wait until you see what it builds in you next. Stay with me. Number 2, when their ego loses its favorite opponent. Power feels easy until the person you controlled stops reacting. My friends, let's be honest. Some people were never in love with you. They were in love with the version of themselves they got to be around you. The one who always had the upper hand, the one you always chased, the one whose mood decided your day. Your reactions were their favorite source of energy. Your explanations were their safety net. Your constant emotional presence was the mirror that made them feel important, desired, wanted. So when you go quiet, really quiet, their ego doesn't just lose a person, it loses its favorite opponent. The game stops working. The script stops flowing. The control they thought they had suddenly feels shaky. Imagine a boxer stepping into a ring, all hyped, gloves on, ready to swing, and there's no one in the opposite corner. At first, they laugh, shadow box a little, and throw a few punches in the air. They tell themselves they'll show up, they always do. But the longer that ring stays empty, the more ridiculous they start to feel. All that attitude, all that performance, all that I don't care energy, with no one there to catch it. That's what your silence does, folks. It empties the ring. It leaves their ego swinging in the shadows. They used to poke you just to see you react. That little delay in replies, that backhanded comment, that sudden coldness after a warm day, those disappearing acts. Every time, your reaction was proof. I still have them. I still control how they feel. You'd argue, overthink, over-explain. You'd send long messages trying to be understood. You'd rehearse conversations in your head just to keep the connection alive. You weren't weak. You were loyal. But to their ego, it was a game. A game where they got to believe they were the calm one, the detached one, the one holding the power. Then one day, you stop playing. The hook they used, it doesn't catch. The test they send, it doesn't get a reaction. The mood swing they throw, it doesn't drag you into a conversation. Suddenly, they can't feel your emotional temperature anymore. And that, my friends, is when their ego starts panicking. Because here's a truth people rarely admit. Control feels like love to someone who doesn't understand love. If they grew up in chaos, if they never learned healthy connections, if their worth was always tied to whether someone responds to them, then your reactions were like oxygen. The moment you cut that supply, their ego starts gasping. But instead of saying, "I miss them," their pride says, "What's wrong with them?" Instead of, "I pushed too far," it says, "They're acting strange." Instead of, "I lost something good," it says, "They're overreacting, they'll be back." The ego never says, "I'm scared." It says, "They're the problem." And yet, no matter what excuse they use, something feels off inside. Why? Because deep down, they can feel the difference between a reaction and a boundary. This time, your silence doesn't feel like a guilt trip. It feels like you moved on from performing. It feels like you unplugged their access to your emotional world. They refresh your profile more than they'll ever admit. They notice when you stop watching their stories. They feel the gap when your name stops appearing in their notifications. To them, it's not just silence, it's proof. Proof that the pattern is broken. Proof that the game is over. Proof that they are no longer the center of your emotional universe. But let's bring this back to you, my friends, because this part is important. When you stop reacting, it's not just their ego that loses something. Your identity feels strange too. You're used to being the responder, the fixer, the one who keeps trying. So when you decide no more, there's a moment where you feel empty, almost guilty. Am I being cold? Am I being unfair? Should I say something? That's not your heart talking, that's your conditioning. You've been trained by patterns, maybe from family, maybe from past relationships, maybe from this one, to believe that not reacting means you're doing something wrong. Let me break that lie for you right now. Choosing not to react is not cruelty. It's clear, it's not punishment, it's protection, it's not a game, it's growth. You're not starving them of love. You're starving their ego of control. Big difference. See, every time you refuse to feed into drama, you're teaching your nervous system a new story. You're telling yourself, "I don't need to chase every emotional fire." You're showing your mind, "I can feel triggered and still stay still." That's not coldness. That's emotional maturity. That's stoic power moving through you in real time. And yes, it's difficult. You will have days where your fingers hover over the keyboard, ready to type paragraphs. You'll have nights where your chest feels heavy because you want closure, understanding, something. But remember, the more you react, the more their ego learns, "I still own space in their mind." The more you stay grounded, the more your spirit learns, "I own my peace now." They don't just lose a person when you go quiet. They lose the version of you that made them feel superior. They lose the emotional supply that keeps their ego fed. They lose the comfort of knowing they could reach into your life whenever they wanted and stir up your emotions like a spoon in a glass of water. Now the water is still, and stillness is terrifying to someone who gets their identity from chaos. So if you feel guilty for not reacting, remember this: you are not here to be anyone's emotional playground. You are not here to entertain their ego. You are here to protect your peace, guard your heart, and grow into the version of yourself that doesn't have to prove their worth to anyone. Write this in the comments to show them, show yourself, and show the world around you. I won't feed their ego. Because if this is what happens when their ego loses its favorite opponent, wait until you see what happens when your peace becomes your only priority. Stay with me. Number 3. The psychological spiral they never saw coming. Silence doesn't chase them. It makes their own thoughts do the running. My friends, this is the part they never post online, the part behind the selfies and the "I'm fine" captions. On the surface, they still look calm. They still look in control. They still look like the one who walked away without blinking. But inside, your silence has started something they can't switch off. Their mind is no longer a quiet room. It's a hallway of doors, and every door they open leads back to you. At first, they try to brush it off. It's nothing. I'm just tired. I'm busy. They treat their own thoughts like a glitch that will fix itself if they keep scrolling long enough. But that's the thing about the mind, folks. You can distract it for a while, but you can't outrun what you actually feel. Your silence doesn't yell at them. It just sits there like a mirror. And the more they try not to look, the clearer their reflection becomes. Imagine someone throwing a stone into a lake and then walking away, thinking the ripples will vanish instantly. That's how they treated you. They thought they could say what they said, do what they did, pull away how they pulled away, and that any damage would just fade if they ignored it long enough. But your silence is the proof that the ripples didn't disappear. They spread. They touched everything. And now, standing at the edge of that same lake, they have to watch the water move in ways they didn't expect. The spiral starts small, a random thought in the middle of a normal day, a memory slipping in while they're waiting for coffee, a flash of your face in a place where you used to stand beside them. They shake it off. Whatever, it's normal to think about people. Then it comes back at night, because nights are when the ego starts to lose its grip and the truth gets louder. They lie there, phone in hand, screen lighting up, but none of it feels grounding. The conversations feel shallow. The attention feels thin, because no matter how many people they talk to, the connection doesn't taste the same. Deep down, they know it. That's when the questions start. Why haven't they reached out? Did I push too far? Are they really done with me? Did they find someone better? They won't admit they're asking these questions, but their behavior exposes them. They start checking your online status, scrolling your profile, rereading old chats, hovering over your name without messaging. Their mind is replaying scenes like a movie on a loop. The last time you smiled at them, the last time you forgave them, the last time you explained how you felt. And now there is just quiet. Here's where it hits hard, my friends. The same silence that once tore you up inside is now doing surgery on their ego. This is the flip most people never talk about. You've already lived these nights. You've already cried, overthought, scrolled, hoped, begged the universe for a sign. You already went through your spiral. You already met your darkest thoughts and walked through them. Now it's their turn. And still, their pride tries to negotiate. They're probably just playing a game. They're trying to punish me. They'll give in eventually. That's the lie they cling to, because the alternative is too painful. The possibility that you're not playing at all, that you're genuinely choosing peace over their chaos. Their mind keeps flipping between stories. One side says they don't care anymore. The other side whispers, what if they finally learned to? And you, my friends, you might be sitting there wondering, do they really feel all this? Or is it just in my head? Let me break one more lie for you. People who are used to having your emotional access do not lose it without feeling something. It might not look like tears, it might not look like messages, it might not look like what you wish it would, but it shows up in their patterns, in their overcompensation, in the way their energy shifts. They work more, they go out more, they post more, they laugh louder, all performances. Because when the crowd disappears and they walk into that quiet room alone, the show ends. And that's where the spiral tightens. This is where fear sneaks in. Not just fear of losing you, fear of facing themselves. It's easier to believe you're dramatic than to admit, I hurt someone who actually cared. It's easier to call you cold than confess. They finally got tired of my games. Their mind wants to blame you. Their heart knows better. My friends, this psychological spiral is not your responsibility to fix. You spent enough time trying to hold their mind, their moods, their wounds. You tried to love them through their damage while ignoring your own. That chapter is over. Your silence is not a weapon, it's a boundary. It's not meant to torture them, it's meant to protect you. Is it hard? Of course. You'll still have moments where you wonder how they feel, if they think about you, if they regret it. That's normal. You're human, not a stone. But now you answer those questions differently. Instead of, do they still care? You ask, am I still abandoning myself for answers I may never get? The spiral they're in right now is the one you survived. That's the difference. You're not in the same place anymore. While their mind is spinning, yours is slowly learning to stand still. While they're trying to run from the truth, you're learning to live in it. That's where your power quietly grows. So if you ever doubt whether your silence matters, remember this. Silence doesn't erase you from their story. It just erases their ability to edit your part in it. You're no longer at their emotional mercy. You've stepped out of the maze that their ego built and into a path that belongs to you. Write this in the comments to show them, show yourself, show the world around you. I survived the spiral. Because if this is what your silence is doing to their mind now, wait until you see what it builds in your soul next. Stay with me. Number 4, why your silence threatens the identity they built. Some people don't fear losing you. They fear losing the version of themselves they got to be when you were still chasing them. My friends, this part cuts a little deeper, so stay with me. Your silence doesn't just bother them, it threatens the identity they've built. See, a lot of people aren't actually secure. They're just good at performing security. They act unbothered, detached, above it all. But that version of themselves only works as long as someone like you is there, feeding it. They built a whole character in their own story. The one who doesn't care too much. The one who always has options. The one you could never really get fully. They leaned on your effort, your emotion, your loyalty to feel powerful. Every time you reached out first, every time you apologized first, every time you tried to fix what they broke, it confirmed the story in their head. I'm wanted. I'm important. I'm the one in control. Then one day, you go quiet. Not the I'm waiting for you to notice me quiet, but the I've noticed myself now quiet. And suddenly, the character they spent so long playing starts to crack. Because who are they if you're not there proving how special they are? Who are they if you're not reacting, not chasing, not orbiting their moods? Imagine a house built out of mirrors instead of walls. On the outside it looks shiny, impressive, confident, but inside there's nothing solid, just reflections bouncing off each other. That's their identity. When you were there, your attention was like light, constantly hitting those mirrors, making the whole thing glow. The moment you pull that light back, the house doesn't just get dimmer, it starts to feel empty. That's why your silence is so dangerous to their ego. It's not just absence, it's exposure. Without your reactions, they're left alone with themselves. No one to impress, no one to control, no one to guilt or manipulate into staying. Just them, their patterns, their choices, their reflections staring back. And here's where the lies start showing up, folks. They'll tell themselves they're acting weird. They're immature for going quiet. They must be talking to someone else. These stories protect their pride, but they also reveal their biggest fear. The fear that you finally realized your worth had nothing to do with their validation. Your silence threatens the identity they built for 2 big reasons. First, it shows them they were never as powerful as they thought. Second, it shows them you were never as weak as they hoped. They thought you'd always be available, even if they gave you crumbs. They thought you'd always respond, even if they went distant. They thought you'd always forgive, even if they repeated the same pattern again and again. So when that cycle breaks, when you stay quiet longer than their ego can handle, it confronts them with a painful question. What if I wasn't in control at all? What if they were just kind? That's a scary thought for someone whose whole image is built on being untouchable, because if your quiet proves you were strong all along, then what does that make them? Not the powerful one, not the winner. Just someone who took advantage of a good heart and mistook it for weakness. That's why they might act like your silence doesn't matter. They'll joke about it, shrug it off, post something that screams, "I'm living my best life." But behind the scenes, they're testing themselves. Why does this bother me? Why do I care if they don't respond? Why does their calm get under my skin? They're not used to seeing you this way. Calm, composed, not begging, not chasing, not trying to fix what they broke. And your new energy doesn't fit the role they assigned you. You were supposed to be the emotional one, the intense one, the one who cared more. That imbalance made them feel superior. Now, your silence flips the script, and they don't know how to act in this new story. But let's talk about you for a second, my friends, because while their identity is shaking, yours is finally stabilizing. You're slowly realizing that you don't need to be the one who always cares the most. You don't have to sacrifice your peace to keep a connection alive. You don't have to play the role they cast you in. You get to rewrite who you are. Is it uncomfortable? Absolutely. Growth usually is. You're stepping out of the costume they gave you and standing there as your real self, quiet, clear, grounded. And in that moment, you might feel exposed too. You might think, who am I if I'm not fixing everything? Who am I if I'm not proving my love? Who am I if I'm not constantly explaining myself? Here's the answer. You are finally you. Not the watered-down version they handled, not the desperate version they took for granted. The real you, the one who knows that love without respect is not love, and connection without reciprocity is just emotional labor. Your silence is you stepping out of their shadow and back into your own light. It's you saying, you don't get to define me anymore. And that's exactly why it threatens the identity they built, because your growth exposes how little they were actually growing. Silence doesn't just protect your peace, my friends. It exposes who was never ready for it. So when you catch yourself wondering whether they're affected, whether your quiet matters, remember this. Anyone whose identity depended on your reaction is already feeling the earthquake. They might not show it, they might bury it, they might joke through it, but deep down they know something shifted, and that shift didn't happen in their favor. Write this in the comments to show them, show yourself, show the world around you. My silence reveals truth. Because if your quiet can shake the identity they built, wait until you see what it does for the identity you're building next. Stay with me. Number 5. Their mind versus their pride. The war begins. Pride says, I don't care. The mind whispers, then why can't you stop thinking about them? My friends, this is where it really starts to get messy on their side. Up until now, they've been able to pretend. Pretend your silence doesn't bother them. Pretend you're replaceable. Pretend they're too busy, too evolved, too unbothered to care. But there comes a point where pretending gets exhausting, and that's when the war begins. The war between their mind and their pride. Their mind is honest, their pride is loud, and your silence is the battlefield. Imagine them lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling. The world is quiet. The notifications slow down, the distractions run out. That's when the thoughts start walking in like uninvited guests. Why haven't they texted? Did I push too far? What if they're actually done with me? Their mind shows them the truth in full HD. It replays the times they brushed you off, the times they left you on read, the times they took your loyalty for granted, the last conversation, the last look, the last moment they felt you slipping and ignored it. But pride doesn't like these scenes. Pride grabs the remote and tries to change the channel. They're being dramatic. They're playing games. They'll reach out. They always do. See the conflict? One side knows, the other side denies. One side feels the loss, the other pretends it's nothing. Folks, it's like having two voices in their head. The mind says, you messed up. Pride says, no, they messed up. The mind says, you miss them. Pride says, you can do better. The mind says, reach out. Pride says, don't you dare. They open your chat window and scroll. They start typing, then delete. They check your profile, then act like they just accidentally pressed it. It's funny in a sad way. They're caught in the same loop you were once trapped in. That feeling of wanting to say something but being chained by ego, fear, and old habits. The difference is, your loop led to growth. Their loop is just starting. Let's be real, my friends. For someone whose whole identity was built on being unbothered, admitting they miss you is like swallowing glass. It burns their pride. It cracks their image. It forces them to see that the person they treated like an option was actually a source of emotional grounding. Their mind remembers how calm they felt when they were around you. Their pride remembers how powerful they felt when they kept you uncertain. Their mind says, you lost something real. Their pride says, you can always find someone else. But they do find other people. They text others, they flirt, they go out. And yet, something never feels quite right. The conversations stay shallow. The jokes don't land the same. The attention feels light, like eating junk food. It fills the moment, but not the soul. That's when the mind starts winning small rounds. Why doesn't this feel like it did with them? Why am I thinking about them while I'm with someone else? Here's the hard truth. Your silence has turned into a measurement tool. Whether they like it or not, their mind compares every new connection to the depth they felt with you. And no matter how hard pride tries to deny it, it notices the difference. But don't get it twisted. This inner war is not romantic. It's not cute. It's not your responsibility to fix. You are not meant to come in and save them from the consequences of their own choices. You already tried saving the situation when you were the only one fighting for it. This war, this is between them and themselves. You might feel tempted to step in. You know what, maybe I should reach out. Maybe I should help them see things clearly. Maybe they just need one more chance. That's your heart talking, but this time your wisdom has to speak louder. Because the moment you interrupt this war, the moment you soothe their ego again, the lesson evaporates. They go back to thinking they can treat you anyhow, and you'll always come back. Silence isn't just about not texting. It's about not rescuing. It's about letting their mind and pride finally confront each other without you stepping in as the referee. Is it hard to stay out of it? Absolutely. You might still have love for them. You might still care. But caring doesn't mean sacrificing yourself every time someone feels uncomfortable facing themselves. That's not love. That's self-abandonment. Stoicism doesn't mean you don't feel, my friends. It means you stop letting your feelings drag you back into places that break you. On their side, the fear grows quietly. Fear that you're really done. Fear that they don't have the hold on you they once did. Fear that every day you stay silent is another step away from them and another step closer to someone who will actually value you. They won't say it, but they sense it. Your silence feels different this time. It doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like closure, not the kind they give you, the kind you gave yourself. And as their mind and pride keep wrestling, something else starts to become clear. They never really knew you as well as they thought. They thought you'd always react, always come back, always bend. Now they're realizing you're capable of something they never expected, letting go. So when you sit there wondering, are they thinking about me? Are they struggling at all? Understand this. Any person with even a small amount of awareness feels the loss of true stability when it's gone. They might not show it. They might fight it. They might pretend. But deep inside, that war is happening. Your job is not to stop it. Your job is to keep walking. Write this in the comments to show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you. I won't rescue their ego. Because if this is what happens when their mind and pride first collide, wait until you see what happens when you choose peace over proving your worth. Stay with me. Number 6. Meanwhile, you shift into emotional mastery. Your silence isn't distance, it's discipline. My friends, while their mind is caught in a tug of war and their pride is scrambling to hold its fragile throne, something entirely different is happening on your side. Something powerful, something subtle, something they never believed you were capable of. You're stepping into emotional mastery, not because you planned it, not because you wanted to prove anything, but because your spirit finally got tired of breaking for the wrong people. This stage is quiet, but don't mistake quiet for weak. Think of a seed underground. Nothing looks like it's happening. No movement, no noise, no applause. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Structure is building. The seed is getting stronger in the dark before it ever rises into the light. That's you right now. At first, your silence might have felt like a bruise, tender, heavy, unfamiliar. You were used to responding, explaining, apologizing for things that weren't even your fault. You were used to carrying both hearts, your own and theirs. So when you stopped, your nervous system didn't know what to do. You reached for your phone out of habit. You rehearsed messages in your head. You wondered if you were doing the right thing. But slowly, something shifted. Your emotional muscles started waking up. Your self-respect started sitting taller. That inner voice, the one you had silenced for so long, began whispering again, "You deserve peace. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve someone who doesn't make you question your worth." And for the first time in a long time, you listened. Your silence became a space where your mind finally had room to breathe. The overthinking began to loosen. The anxiety started losing its grip. The fear of being alone stopped sounding like a threat and started sounding like freedom. And that's when you began realizing your quiet wasn't about them anymore. It was about you. Let's talk about something important, folks. People think healing is a dramatic moment, a breakthrough, a tearful confession, a grand realization. But healing is often boring. Healing happens in small, almost invisible shifts. Like the moment you stop checking your phone every 10 minutes. The moment you go a whole afternoon without wondering what they're doing. The moment you sleep better than you have in weeks. The moment you laugh, really laugh, and realize you hadn't done that in a while. That's emotional mastery, quiet, subtle, steady. And while they're spiraling, refreshing your profile, trying to decode your silence like it's some puzzle sent to torment them, you're slowly moving into a different dimension. You're not reacting. You're not explaining. You're not fighting battles that drain you. You're choosing where your energy goes. And my friends, that's power. Let me break a lie for you. A lot of people say, if you truly care, you'll fight for the person. But the truth is, when the fight is one-sided, that's not love. That's self-destruction. Real emotional mastery isn't about fighting harder. It's about knowing when to stop fighting at all. You're not choosing silence to hurt them. You're choosing silence to heal you. You start noticing your own patterns. You recognize where you gave too much. You identify the moments you ignored your intuition because your heart didn't want to believe the truth. You start seeing the red flags you once painted white. And instead of blaming yourself, you grow from it. Your peace becomes your priority. Your self-worth becomes your compass. Your emotional energy becomes something sacred, no longer thrown at people who can't hold it. And here's what really confuses them. You're not angry. You're not bitter. You're not posting quotes to get a reaction. You're just calm, detached, aligned. And that scares them more than anything else. Because anger means you still care. Bitterness means you're still holding on. Reaction means they still have influence. But silence mixed with peace, that means they lost access. They can feel the difference. They can sense that your energy isn't reaching for them anymore. You're not waiting for closure. They're waiting for a moment that's no longer coming. You're not sitting in the ruins. They are. And whether they admit it or not, your emotional evolution forces them to confront something they avoided for a long time. They underestimated you. The version of you they mistreated, doubted, or played games with isn't the one standing here now. That version broke, so this version could rise. This version is focused, grounded, self-aware, unshakable. And while they're still trying to figure out what your silence means, you already know what it means. It means you've stopped abandoning yourself. It means you've stopped negotiating your worth. It means you've stopped trying to earn what should have been given willingly. My friends, emotional mastery is not about becoming hard. It's about becoming wise. It's about letting experience shape you instead of shatter you. It's about turning every disappointment into direction, every heartbreak into clarity, and every goodbye into elevation. And you're doing it. Quietly. Consistently. Powerfully. Before we move into the next chapter of this journey, I want you to write this in the comments to show them, show yourself, and show the world around you. I choose my peace first. Now, if this message hit you, if you feel yourself growing through the silence you once feared, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to remember their worth. Stay with me, because the next part is going to change the way you see yourself forever.